Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Rockingham. It's Mike and Marty here on the feet. We're here with Charlie Hunter today. We're going to be talking about RED, which is the Rockingham Entertainment Development, and activities that they're doing this fall and coming up. But first, Marty, with local events.
Local events. So at the Bellows Falls Opera House this week is Black Adam. I think that's the movie with The Rock.
The Rock, yes.
That goes from October 21st to November 1st. The classic movie, and I have to do a mea culpa because I did mess it up last week. I had last week's the classic movie as The Wizard of Oz, and last week the classic movie was On Golden Pond, and it was sponsored.
They're very similar movies.
You can see how I made the mistake. And last week on Golden Pond, just because I want to give credit where credit is due, was sponsored by Lisa Moody, Susan McNeil, Sandra Whippy, Leslie's Tavern, and Red. Because it is important, and we can talk a tiny bit about this, that people sponsor these movies, because that's how they happen. So I want to make sure we give acknowledgement. But this week, it really is The Wizard of Oz. It really is The Scary Monkeys. It really is The Witch Under the House. And that's sponsored by James and James Plumbing. Also coming up at the Opera House is Comedy Divas on Thursday, November 10th. And that's a benefit for Greater Falls Regional Chamber of Commerce. And I know I say this every week, but the Comedy Divas are good. They came a few years ago, and they're very, very good. And then it's interesting that every event I have is happening at the Opera House.
Huh.
Because the next event
Strange.
happening strange. And I did look for other events, and there's not a lot. This weekend's kind of quiet.
Things are dying down.
Yeah.
In the
On
outer
Thursday,
world.
December 1st, we have the Holly Jolly Bellows Follies, which is a co-benefit event for Wild Goose players and the Rotary Club of Bellows Falls. And we'll have more information as we get closer to the event. We'll know what our silent auction items are, our live auction items, and I'll tell you more about it.
Great. Well, I just happen to notice that the people who are involved in RED are currently wearing
Oh, I
red.
didn't even think.
And
That's so funny. I didn't even think about that.
Maybe that's the signal there, though. Charlie, good to see you. How are you
Good
doing?
to see you. Never better. Never
Great.
better. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. This is my favorite thing. This is my favorite time of the week.
Excellent.
So good. So can you tell us a little bit about RED and
Absolutely.
where it came about, how it came about, and what it does, and
Right. Well, RED is Rockingham Entertainment Development is a 501c3, which is a nonprofit. Nobody involved with it can profit in any way from its activities. And we have a deal with the town to help kind of market and develop the Opera House.
Right.
The bread and butter of the Opera House is the first run movies, and that has been the bread and butter. It will continue to be the bread and butter. The team that kept the Opera House going during the pandemic, when everything was shut down, they still kept selling triple ups, which is the incredible deal, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
The incredible deal: $5 for a medium soda, a medium popcorn, and a candy. You can't get that anywhere else. And now we have the super up for $8, a large popcorn, a large soda, and a candy. But that blows,
that's true. It blows everyone's mind. I love being in line behind someone who isn't
Right.
familiar with that, and they're like, it's just a disconnect. They get over there like $5. What?
Right. Well, for you, $7. That's what we should do.
That's
If
what
people are like,
I think that's
awfully
too much."
reasonable. But anyway, Tim and Jen Tolaro, Jen Tolaro Heidbrink and Tim Heidbrink, they've worked at the Opera House for decades, and they have kept it going. And we really need to give them a shout out as to their
Yes.
dedication. But once things started opening up again, town manager pickup, I just think he's terrific, our current town manager. Don't get into a fight with him, Bellows Falls.
Exactly.
Rockingham. We like him, we
Don't
want to
jinx it.
keep him. But he and I talked about how we could really build what the Opera House does. And so Red, for $1 a year, I used to be a music manager. I'm pretty good at promoting things. So I'm working with the team there but the movies are solid, continuing. We've got the classic films, and we're also doing a little more outside programming.
Right.
Because the thing that is crucial, I've learned as I learn more about how the movie aspect of this works, is we've got to keep the schedule open for the blockbusters, because that is what the audience that comes to the Opera House primarily comes for, the big blockbusters. And the way the big studios work is they basically hold little theaters like this hostage and say, if you want that Spider-Man movie, you're going to have to play it for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's why, we do get first-run movies, but sometimes they play for a long time. And when you've got a multiplex with 10 screens, it doesn't really matter that much. But here, it matters.
Yeah.
But it's the price of doing business.
Yep, exactly. But anyway, so there really are the movies, day in, day out. That is what keeps the lights on.
Right.
And then we're supplementing it with other programming to really try to serve the larger town and region.
Diversifying. You have to stay current, I think, because while movies are still important, I'm guessing that there's been a shift, because a lot of movies are going right to Paramount or right to streaming.
Yes.
So you can access them streaming. It's not the same. I don't care how much you want to see a movie. When you watch it in your home, it's just never as much fun as the Opera House.
The perfect example is Top Gun. When you guys did Top Gun on the first weekend, it was just incredibly
it just would not have been the same
amazing to
seeing
see
it for the first time at home versus the movie theater.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. It seems like dramas and stuff are kind of migrating more toward the streaming services. And because that is, it's much more kind of close-ups of people talking.
Right.
But when you are swinging through the air off of a skyscraper and battling evil, it really helps to see it on the big screen.
And the big sound.
Dolby
huge
stereo.
sound.
Exactly. Huge sound. And a shout out to Ed Howard, who I think he really drove that, made sure that we have really, really good sound.
Amazing sound.
Yep.
Yes. And the idea that it's a full-size opera house is just, you don't see that anymore. Anywhere. It's just really
And
incredible.
so why not? We have the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 550 seats, so it's about 360 seats on the main floor, and then 180 seats upstairs. The only problem with the balcony is there's no leg room on any of the seats other than the front row.
Yeah. Been there.
The number of people with very small legs is
Diminishing
not that
amount.
And they probably don't have really great eyesight. So we need out there, Bellows Falls. If you have friends with really small legs and really good eyesight, we've got a deal for them.
The cheap seats.
I know. I've been either that or you really have to be flexible in your hips. If you can spread your legs enough, then you can fit. I know that sounds suggestive, but
Okay, we'll move on.
we'll move on. So, what projects do you have on the horizon? They haven't quite come to fruition yet, but are out there.
Well, the thing that has been occupying my time of late, there are two major projects. One was there used to be a program that we had where people could buy a plaque on a seat.
Oh, yeah.
And we are resurrecting that. That'll be good to go in a week or two. and that'll be on the website, the BellowsFallsOperaHouse.com website. And the price is tiered from $100 to $250, depending on location of the seat. And it's a wonderful way to honor a loved one and support what the Opera House is doing. The other really big project is, as everyone knows, we lost Ray Massucco at the end of September. And he was such a force for good in this town. He was involved in everything, and he just gave of himself so much. I mean, he gave like 180 pints of blood, or 180 gallons of blood, just some enormous amount.
Yes.
I gave every time I give blood, I like pass out, and the ladies are giving me tuna fish sandwiches, and I'm like, Ray was like, I'm gonna go give blood again. But
you and Ray were involved at the very beginning of Roots on the River,
well,
right?
I started it as the Fred Eaglesmith Weekend. Then we built it into Roots on the River, a 3-day festival that took place behind the Everyday Inn. I ran it until 2007, and the reason I stopped running it is one year it would be 40 degrees and raining, and everyone would be like, why the hell do you have Italian ice? You need coffee. I said, okay. So then for next year, we'd find a coffee truck. They'd set up, it'd be 95 degrees. Why do you have coffee? You need Italian ice. It's like, so after 2007, I was like, I'm done. And Ray said, I'll take it over. And Ray ran it until 2019, had a dedicated cadre of volunteers. Then he said 20 years is enough. And then the pandemic happened. So, I mean, he had great timing. And we were talking about, in 2023, starting to do a Americana. That's the catch-all term for the type of music that used to be at Roots on the River. Doing an Americana, a series of Americana acts at the Opera House. And when we lost Ray at the end of September, I reached out to the family and asked if they would be amenable to our doing a series, but calling it the Ray Massucco Concert Series. And they were happy to have his name be lent to it. And I reached out to Ezra Veach, Meredy Serebrov, I can never pronounce her last name, and Patrick LeBlanc, who were the core team of Roots on the River. And they all have stepped up. And so we are doing a Ray Massucco concert series.
That's great.
Four concerts over the course of the year, so one per season is what we're aiming for. And we have actually put early bird, pre-sale tickets on sale.
We should have
And BellowsFallsOperaHouse.com.
Yeah, I have the QR code image.
And just memorize the QR code. It's ...
That's
space.
right there.
there it is, right there.
With Ray in the middle, which I loved. I loved that.
But yeah, so we don't have the dates yet. We don't have the acts that we can announce yet. But you can still get tickets, and it's very, very helpful to get tickets now because that gives us the working capital for paying the deposits and the hall rent and stuff.
Right.
And I want to be very clear that the town of Rockingham, which owns the Bellows Falls Opera House, is getting its full rent. There's no special deal. The special events bring in a nice chunk of cash to Opera House operations, and this will put some cash in the coffers.
Right. Well, and on that note, I would just point out, having used the Opera House to show some videos that we had done that everyone pays the rent. Everyone pays their fair share, and I think that's really an important thing. That it's not okay, we'll let these people.
Right.
This guy can come in because we like him, and this guy has to pay because
Exactly.
we don't necessarily like him. Everybody pays, and it really does pay. It's good to pay because it's supporting the opera house. It's keeping that venue viable. It's keeping that venue there,
Right.
and it's making it possible for someone like me to show a movie
Right.
on a full screen with Dolby sound.
Right. Because the movie operations lose money. That's just the reality of it. 3 weeks of if we were in a position of power and could do a superhero movie for 2 weeks,
Yeah,
that'd be better.
Yeah.
But it's that, as you said, that's the nature of doing business. So yeah, and one of a couple of great things that we've been able to do in our time working with the town is we have got the on-screen advertising program. That used to bring in about $100 a month. It's now bringing in $1,200 a month.
Wow, great.
And
great.
we have some great supporters.
Yeah.
The advertisers, it really, if you go to the movies and you see an ad on the screen, thank that advertiser when next time you go in. It makes a huge difference. And then also the Wednesday Night Classics, those are fully sponsored, each one. And that costs $300 to sponsor a film, or people can go in
Yeah, that's
in a
what
group.
that's what I'm guessing. Obviously, this group
Yeah.
did, so that not one individual had to front the whole bit. You can get a group of friends. Maybe there was a movie that, was a favorite movie in high school or something like that.
Exactly.
Each of you pitch in some, and you can all be listed as sponsors, and you can see your favorite high school movie on the big screen.
Yeah.
And you can realize that, movies that you thought were the cutting edge back in the day are not so much when you see them on the big screen.
Smokey and the Bandit 2.
For me, it was Eddie and the Cruisers.
Really? That was your
It was like
reality.
the reality is wow. The movie making has come a long way since then. And I imagine for some of the really old classics that you guys have, it's even more of a wow.
Right. Well, it is funny. When we show Hitchcock, you think, oh, Hitchcock, the master of suspense and horror. Well, people watched Hitchcock and learned from Hitchcock, and now they have advanced the ball in terms of suspense and horror, I think. So.
Yes, that's true. He sort of created a baseline that people moved on
Right.
from, and now we look back
you
at
watch
it and
it,
we're
it's
like,
like,
oh, okay.
yeah.
Right.
All right.
Those are mechanical birds, aren't they? So can you tell us about the what the seat option packages are?
Sure. For the Ray Massucco Concert Series. There are there are 4 tiers and then one sub-tier, which is the cheap seats, the ones with no leg room, the ones for your friends with great eyesight and short legs. That's the Economy Blue series, and I think that's $18.50 per concert. So it's 4 times $18.50, and I'm not good at math, so it's whatever 4 times that is. Then the next series up is the Blue series, and that is like the sides, the wings of the main auditorium, and kind of the wings of the front row of the balcony. Then the Red series, which is the majority of the really good sight lines on the ground floor, and then the Gold series, which is front and center. And then we've got, for the people who really want to step up, we've got the Leadership Circle, the Ray Massucco Leadership Circle,
Wow, that's
which
quite
will there will be a little reception before each concert for those people. And actually, we've sold the most of that series right now. We announced it, 2 days ago?
Yeah, it wasn't much.
Yeah, and we've sold like 18 of the Leadership Circle. So I think we're at like 37. We're around 40 packages sold, which is pretty darn
That's great.
good.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so what if somebody wants to support this, but they have no idea whether they're going to be able to make the
Right.
concerts or whatever. How would that work?
Well, one of the things that we're doing is when we announce the series with the dates and the acts, everybody who has bought a ticket will get the chance to say, I want to take my tickets from this show and put all of them onto this show. So they'll have the opportunity to move things around. So if you buy 2 tickets for you and your spouse, and there's an act you really want to bring friends to see, you can take your 2 tickets from a different show and add them to that show. Now, the one downside of that is because you're getting to choose your seats now, maybe the other tickets aren't going to be contiguous, but you can drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, I was going to
Yes,
say,
you
I was
can.
going to say, because
Yeah.
I was wondering about the logistics of that, because
Yeah.
you had mentioned, we talked about it at the Red Board meeting.
The-
Yeah.
Yeah,
The-
but yeah, so you take what you can get. I mean,
Yeah,
it is,
yeah.
but still, it's
Well-
good that you have that option.
Yeah, we'll make
That
it work.
flexibility.
The other thing is, if say you can't come to any of them, or not sure you're going to be able to come to any of them, but you want to support it, I would really appreciate. I mean, we'll take funds however people want to give them to us, but I would really appreciate it if people would buy the pre-sale tickets and then just send us an email saying, I'm not going to be able to come to these, or I'm not going to be able to come to these too. And we will donate those seats, those tickets, to one of the local social service organizations. We want, the reality is, the acts that we'll be booking are acts, this first year, I think they're all going to be acts that have played Roots on the River.
Oh, good.
Because I want that through line. I think in the future we'll probably expand out to getting new acts. But the reality is the guarantees are not insignificant. So we've got to cover our costs with ticket sales, and that inevitably means some people aren't going to be able to afford to go. And by having these donated seats, then that gets them to
That sort
people.
of,
You know,
spreads the
Kind of
wealth
like
a little bit. Yeah.
angel seats.
Yeah.
It's also good timing that you're doing it now, because we are coming into the holiday season.
It's a
And
perfect.
what a
Good
wonderful
gifts.
gift for that person that
Yeah.
you just don't know what to buy for them.
Well, also being delivered today, ladies and gentlemen, are the new gift certificates for the Opera House. Those will be available, and those gift certificates are just for movies and concessions. But they're a wonderful
That's a
holiday
great
gift
idea.
too,
Yeah.
and they're cool looking, and
Yeah.
they're numbered this time. We never used to number them. So those will be available at the Opera House and at the town offices.
Nice.
And then, absolutely, perfect holiday gift is a pair of tickets to the Ray Massucco
Right,
Concert
right.
Series.
It's sort of like having season tickets to the Patriots or something.
Exactly.
Think of it that way. It's
Yeah.
like, people buy those season tickets and they may give them away, or they may offer them, or they may use them themselves. And that's just
Yeah.
something. So you should
Yeah, I
think
mean,
of it that way.
you see that all the
Except
time.
it's better.
Yeah, you see that all the time on Facebook. I got 2 tickets to Celtics
Yeah,
games,
yeah,
who
yeah.
can use it. So, and then you find someone that wants. Maybe you don't want to see that act, but there's someone out there that does.
Or you
can
can't see them,
buy
yeah,
and
yeah.
sell them the tickets, or better yet, just give them the tickets. You've already bought them. You paid
Yeah,
for
sell
them.
them.
Different ideologies here. We're down to just about 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So tell us
That's-
how to buy the tickets.
Just go to BellowsFallsOperaHouse.com, and you can do that for any movies and triple ups and super ups as well. BellowsFallsOperaHouse.com. That is the thing I'm proudest of that Red has done. Is Red has paid for the development of that webpage. Hasn't cost the taxpayers a cent. It really helps propel the Opera House into the present
Yeah,
day.
exactly.
The other thing I wanted to mention is there's going to be a celebration of life for Ray on what was the day of the Meeting House show every year at Roots on the River. That is the second Sunday in June. So I think it's
Oh,
June
that's
11th
good to
at
know.
noon at the Rockingham Meeting House.
Oh, neat.
And that'll be just people speaking and remembering Ray.
Okay, great.
So make sure if you want to get your tickets in. And the other thing, I have to give you a shout out because that website is so user friendly.
Great.
And that QR code that we put up, if we can put it up again, you just hold your phone up to it and it literally will hover Bells Falls Opera House. You tap on it and it takes you right to special events and Ray Massucco concert. So
And
it
that's-
couldn't make it any easier unless we walked you by your hand down to the Opera House.
And took the
And
money,
took
out,
the
of
money
your
out of your
pocket.
wallet. So
And
you'll
I-
come back again when you have the concerts lined up, right?
Absolutely, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah. I can imagine that there must be groups that played at Roots that are sort of lining up that want to be in this.
Yes.
Because Ray was well liked by all the musicians. I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, well, Ray
it wasn't- yeah.
loved music,
Yeah.
you know, and that enthusiasm certainly translated. The musicians knew
Yeah,
how much
yeah.
he loved the music.
Well, looking
Well,
forward
that's
to it.
all the time we have, unfortunately.
Okay, well, until next week, we'll see you.
Bye, community.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty.